The AP is running a story right now about how the younger generation of Republicans are down with the gays and they are down with weed, and they gave us a couple examples. A college Republican group leader in Alabama was nearly kicked out of the party for supporting gay marriage, so that means a leader was down with gay marriage. That's something. The successful push to legalize gay marriage in Minnesota was backed by several prominent younger Republicans. In Colorado, the spokesman for a group that pushed to legalize marijuana was a Republican activist. So these are just a couple anecdotal things, but there is definitely a sense that on these social issues, mainly gay marriage and marijuana, that the Republicans are slowly coming along. This is good news. Am I right, Jimmy Dore?
Well, this is the way it's always been, right? The Republicans, the conservatives are always late to the party. So I don't understand how we still give any of their ideas any credence ever. So they've been bitching about gays forever, and now they're going to stop slowly. And so, but their next thing, and then marijuana. So they're going to stop bitching about marijuana, and then they're going to finally come around to climate change when they're all underwater, and they're going to come around to, you know, so it's just like, what else are you guys? Of course you guys are wrong. You've been wrong about everything. What haven't you been wrong about? You're wrong about civil rights. You're wrong about the EPA. You're wrong about fucking our energy policy. You're wrong about suppressing the vote. What aren't they wrong about? So if you're a young person, what is it that's attractive about the Republican Party?
In those stories, what's great, because you're right about every single one of those issues. There's not one thing that they're right about, not one thing.
Not one.
Yet they still continue to manage to convince young people that they're better on the economy, that generic term of the economy, when we know full well that that's not true either. Right, it's just not true either.
Yeah.
So I don't, you know, it's frustrating, and a lot of what it gets to too is what they'll never come around on is, you know, suppressing the vote and civil rights. Like it's just they still like it's great. Hey, they're more open to black. Right. I mean, they're more open to gay people. Right. More open, but if the people look different, they're still not on board.
But that's going to go away too. Yeah. After they lose again in 2016, they will then become the party that's going to try and embrace Hispanics and immigrants. They're going to become that party.
Does that matter? Does that matter at the end of the day if they do it for principle or for the desire?
No, it doesn't matter. It makes things better down the road for people. Yeah. But here's why I don't think they'll do it, because if you think that I'm being too harsh about race and that plenty of young Republicans aren't racist, some of them don't know yet, like who they're in bed with, right? But where they'll never come around, where they're always going to get resistance at the top of the party, is on wealth. They don't like poor people, and they never will. And so when there's this thought that Republicans after 2016 will come around on immigration reform, those people are still poor, and many of them still need government assistance, and they don't want any part of that. That is going to be a very tough reconcile for them, I think. And in that story, by the way, you see that like that in the list that you gave, that young Republican in Alabama, she nearly kicked out of the party. I think it was a woman. But the head of the Republican Party in Alabama was still like, you know, that was very bad. Yeah. You know, he was like that. We didn't like that. That was incongruous. It didn't work. So, I mean, like, those are anecdotal stories. And I mean, they're moving. It's incremental. They've moved the ball from the half-yard line to the 3/4 of the 1-yard line. I mean, they have 99 yards to go.
Losing elections moves them. It really helps move them.
Yeah.
Does it?
I think we could look at Jeb Bush. I think if Jeb Bush is the nominee, that he's going to change the party on immigration for sure forever.
Well, he loves immigrants now, right?
Yes.
He went from his brother was a compassionate conservative, and now didn't he say a couple weeks ago he loves immigrants?
Yes.
So they said the party of love now.
Right.
And he's, of course, you know, and he has the Colombian part of his family. Well, half of his family's married to a Colombian.
Yeah, he said the people who come here, he said that they're doing it as a moral act. They're trying to help their family. They're being moral. That's what you're supposed to do. They want to come here and work and help their family, and we should try to help them instead of trying to shit on them.
So you're saying that's a cold, calculated political move and not something he necessarily believes?
I think it's both.
But it's going to require money. It's going to require, these people are poor. Many of them are dirt poor, and I think that's going to be a very tough sell for Republicans, because that is antithetical to who they are. Helping other people.
Yes.
Who need help. They don't mind helping people who don't need help.
Right. Wait, so getting back to weed and gay marriage, though, so do you guys think that this is just going to be a state-by-state thing for both of them, or is at any point the federal government going to jump in? Well, because especially with gay marriage, I mean, it's just every week, it's another one.
We've seen it. Yeah, look, eventually, realism will take over, and their important issues are making sure that the people who are going to vote for Democrats can't vote for Democrats.
Yes.
That's job one for them. Like the Pope, like there's a degree of, and you see some Republican attorneys general around the country realizing I'm not going to fight this anymore. This is a silly thing. This is a silly effort to be fighting on gay marriage. Like, we're going to lose, and it's done. And like as the Pope said, hey, look, I'm against abortion and I'm anti-gay marriage, but I'm not interested in talking.
Yeah, I think what the Pope actually said was, if someone wants to invite me to a disco party slam, who am I to condemn them?
Good accent, good accent. Shouldn't the Tea Party and the Libertarians, so the Rand Pauls, shouldn't they be for legalization of weed and for gay marriage?
They are.
If they were,
Ron Paul was.
They are.
Well, right, but Rand Paul is not for gay marriage, as far as I know, and he's really sort of been weird about weed too. But he wants you to have individual liberty and individual rights. So isn't this wheelhouse stuff if they were being intellectually honest?
Well,
yes.
You just fucked up your whole point. Rand Paul is trying to play a delicate game where he can be right-wing enough to get the nomination, and that, you know, for him it'll be then a fairly easy track to the center. Yeah, we know. We would presume about Rand Paul, he doesn't care about gay marriage and he doesn't care about weed. Those aren't that important to him.
Right.
Being a Republican, what he doesn't want to do is fall into the trap of being his father, who appeals to a bunch of kids in college, but when it really gets serious, that he's marginalized and seen it. He needs to be seen as, look at me, I'm enough establishment, but I'm still have this little cocoon carved out, and it would be very hard for him.
So we're agreed, though, in theory
Also, he's
that
incredibly dumb, and that's going to ultimately
that hair.
It's ultimately going to plague.
Well, he's not only a member; he's also the club president.
Yeah, exactly. But in theory, they should be for gay marriage and legalization of weed, right? Libertarians, they should be. But is there a libertarian that is?
Should also.
Should also be, right?
Yes.
But where are those guys?
Well, I mean, economic, I guess conservatives do, but social conservatives shouldn't. Right?
No,
I mean, of course they should, but they shouldn't if they're being true to their idea that there's a biblical order established and that the country needs to follow.
But the conservatives, correct me if I'm wrong, you know, they're strict constructionists with the Constitution, so they would say less government, and it doesn't say in the Constitution you can regulate my marijuana or my marriage, so you don't get to do that. I think that's what a real conservative would say. The real conservative would say, I'm not for abortion, but I'm for the government staying out of it.
Right, but we're talking,
so that's the difference. So they don't. They want the government
because there's a marriage of those strict constructionists and religious conservatives.
Right,
that's the issue.
So, final thought on this, which goes right to that: is abortion next for them after these two things are sort of taken care of? Is there any chance that they'll see the tea leaves changing, and that the huge numbers that support abortion, and they'll just stop fighting it? They'll stop fighting something that is.
Are there huge numbers?
I think it's closer to like 60%.
I don't think it's changed much.
No, abortion will always stay the same.
Right.
That'll always be an issue for them because the science doesn't move forward. It's always the same thing. Either you think it's a baby or you don't, and so they can always tug at your heartstrings and get you to feel that way. So that's why this won't change, I think, but everything else is changing.
The abortion is a much more intellectually, to get to it, is a much more intellectually honest argument.
Yes.
Being anti-abortion. If you believe that, I don't, and I think it's dangerous to women to not believe that, but it is more intellectually honest, and nothing. I think Jimmy's right. I think those numbers have basically stayed the same, and as we saw in that story, young Republicans aren't actually moving on abortion. They are actually they're still connected to the establishment.
And we do know that God is still anti-abortion, because if you have an abortion and then have another kid, he will make it a Downs baby.
Kapow!